What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name is Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you Travis's DejaNet 1-dot deck that he played for the Retro Round 4 Campus Championship. Retro is a format that Jasco is trying to make happen, and they're hosting an online tournament. A link for that will be in the description down below. Retro is a tournament that will have every set of UniVersus from the original Red Horizon all the way forward to our current standard set, plus all the DLC stuff. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a dive into this deck and see what awesome choices Travis made. All right, so DejaNet. Full disclosure before we jump into this, when Travis sent me this deck list via a UFS Ultra link, he said that there were missing cards in the description, cards that were not on UFS Ultra, including 4 Hellfire Impalement and 2 Transformed Prince. I forgot to put those cards inside of the deck. I did not see them in the description. I did not read that line of text. So I will be representing the deck as it was played inside of the Round 4 Retro Round 4 Campus Championship, but know that there are supposed to be 7 more cards inside of this deck, and so you can do with that what you will. So, with that said, if you have not seen one of my deck profiles before, basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be telling you more about how the deck wants to work, how the deck wants to operate, as opposed to just like reading the cards verbatim. And so the big question is, what does this DejaNet deck want to do? Well, because we mentioned before it is a Hellfire deck, we are playing a ton of bad checks, and so the whole thought process behind this deck is the cards in our hand are amazing, and every time that I hit you with a card in my hand, I make it harder for you to hit me back because of DejaNet's amazing response. And just the extra bit of knowledge of knowing what's on the top card of my deck on my opponent's turn in order to make sure that I don't check poorly when it comes to defense. And so offensively, I'm trying to use the cards in my hand just to murder you, and then defensively, after I've hit you a bunch of times, I'm going to stop you from playing your really aggressive turn. So let's jump into the deck. So because we're playing DejaNet 1-dot, she starts the game with a spell circle, and so we're just going to obviously talk about it right here. This is a fantastic tool that DejaNet has, just always having a momentum, so that she's always live with her both enhance and response. This deck is playing DejaNet 2-dot. Some DejaNet decks don't have to, but this one is deciding to. And really, it's just to make the response a little more potent. As well as the first form discard of momentum, make sure that all my checks are really good because we are playing so many bad checks. We can manipulate when and where we check stuff, and the more knowledge that we have there, the better we can when it comes to if we have any sort of draw power, which the deck has some. Up next, we're going to go ahead and jump into our attacks. So, because we're playing the other DejaNets, we are playing for Affliction. This card is just a really good value card inside of our deck because of us always starting with a spell circle. The discard of momentum, draw a card, reveal the top means that I draw 1, look at the top, and the top ability says that I draw 1. So basically, this is just a free draw 2. And if you happen to be able to hit with it, you get to gauge your extra character. And so you replace your momentum because they hit you. It hit them. And so you have a momentum, plus you discarded spell circle, so you have a second momentum. And then your DejaNet. So basically this thing hits for 2/6 if they choose to add cards back up to their hand. You cleared a card from your deck, and then you get to draw 2 additional cards. Yeah, this card does everything. This card does so much. This is one of the like sneaky, crazy good cards inside of this deck. Up next, we've got Double Storm of Torment. Because people know how to play against DejaNet, it's really easy for her gauge not to get off. And so just discard a momentum, search your deck for a character that shares your starting name, add it in. Just means that I just get to attach my 2-dot all willy-nilly. This just means that like every time that I discard momentum, probably it's going to be the spell circle. All of my responses are now burn 2, burn 3, possibly up to burn 5 for each Storm of Torment that I've seen. As well as randomly, if I've got 2 characters somewhere in my staging area or my discard pile, this card just clears itself from the card pool. A little counterintuitive for DejaNet's response, so just be careful when you're using it. If you think they're going to block it, clear it. If you don't think they're going to block it, don't clear it, so you can get that momentum, that sweet momentum. Up next, one of the last big kill cards that we have is Novus, and by last kill cards I mean the last 3 check kill cards. Novus is one of those retro cards that is really just format defining, format warping in its time, in its prime, and basically it just gets way bigger the longer the game goes, and you can play more enhances. And so every time that your opponent passes, it gets +1 damage, and then you can enhance. If they pass on the next one, it gets 4 speed. And so hopefully with Dejanet, we're playing it as a reversal. I block a reversal after they've been committed out. They've stunned out. I've breakered them, so on and so forth. And then I just, after they have all these committed cards and I have all these ready cards, I just play a bunch of enhances. They have to pass because they're all out of things to do, and then I bop you with it. Up next, we're starting to get into the bad checks. Like I said at the top of the video, my bad, we don't have Hellfire. This is where it'd go right here. Hellfire does a really good job at drawing a bunch of cards and continuing on your kill turn. But we're going to start off with 3 Time Slow. This card's fantastic in Dejanet. While it's in the card pool, checks get -1, and so you're having to commit more cards whenever I make you replay cards, as well as gain 2, stun 2, desperation 2, means that I get to just push my my kill pieces through. We're playing double Sadistic Ways, really crazy good in Dejanet. I take these 2 bad cards from my hand and put them in underneath my character as momentum, and that means that I get to respond with Dejanet at least 3 times because of also Spell Circle. As well as it gives me momentum to deal with other things, to use effectively. We're playing double Death Knell. This is one of Travis's favorite cards. It just says you get to cycle cards from your discard from your hand to your momentum. And so if a play that we had was Sadistic Ways, and then I block with a Death Knell, when I respond with Dejanet and make them add the card back up to their hand, I can take a card from my hand and put it underneath as my momentum. And so with these 2 cards combined, I essentially have turned 2 momentum into 4 momentum, as well as it says discard a momentum, add the top card of your discard pile to your hand. So if you smack them with an attack, you can just lift that card back up and then replace it back again with Death Knell. One of Travis's favorite cards, Coffee Samba. Samba is just like an all-around utility card, especially in the evil Dejanet deck. Just draw your 2 cards, gets multiple X, stun X. We have a ton of momentum, hopefully, so that I can push a lot of really awesome damage through. Yeah, it's a really good lead-in card. It's a really good finisher card, depending on where in the game that you are. And the last attack that we're playing is 1 Guardian Slasher. This card just ends people's turns. It is a reversal. You lose 4. Attacks can't be played anymore. One of the easiest ways to stop Dejanet is to just out-buff her response. So if we just let the first attack through, I've still got 4 momentum, and then I block reversal. Now you have to deal with another 5 damage. Every time that you poke with Dejanet, it forces your opponent to respect her response more and more and more. On to the actions. We're playing triple Reprogramming in addition to the 1 Spell Circle that we're playing. Reprogramming is just like all my attacks are going to get way bigger and my checks are going to get easier to play. Probably one of the big things about this was to make our Hellfires bigger. But like I said at the top, I didn't see them on the list. And so this just says I get to play bigger, longer attack strings. Onto our aggressive foundations, we're playing 1 Confronting Judges. Dejanet 2 dot actually has an ability that says commit a foundation. This attack gets EX. X equals the number of characters in my staging area. So if I got 4 characters in my staging area, I can commit a foundation and give my attack EX4. And so you discard any number of momentum and then get speed equal to your EX rating. And then with Confronting Judges, you just give it a bunch of damage. The rest of these foundations, besides Remember Your Masters, are not very offensive. And so I decided to put Confronting Judges there just to demonstrate that play. It says enhance discard your hand. This attack gets damage equal to damage and speed equal to the number of cards discarded. It's really good for like one of them Hail Mary plays. I want to make sure that this Novus is going to kill you. Oh, this Hellfire Impalement, it's 4 off from being lethal. Well, I'll go ahead and just discard these 4 cards out of my hand and give it +4/+4. Really, really good, especially when teamed up with something like Confronting Judges. Onto the flow cards, we're playing double True Identity. Just form, my checks get better. It means that my 1 checks become 2 checks, and that might be good enough just to not have to be forcibly end my turn. In the same way, we're playing 3 200 below 0. It's kind of a responsive version of True Identity. Response have a bit of a parachute. Instead of checking a 1, I checked a 3. Instead of checking a 2, I checked a 4. It's pretty okay. Up next, flow-wise, we've got 3 Bear of the Mackay Whistle. This just gets Dejanets out of our deck. It does not feel great inside of a 7-hander to draw your Dejanets, especially in this format with the Moment of Rest not being legal. Once again, ban list in the description down below. But this card just gets cards outside of gets characters from our deck into our discard pile so that we can add them back when necessary. Up next, we're playing for the Azure Nightmare. This is just to make sure that if I do accidentally check poorly, I can commit a couple cards and then discard bad cards from my hand in order to ready them up, and then play my good cards and continue to play out my turns. We're playing double hiding in plain sight. This is here just as a quick parachute for Dejanet's response. I can add this card to my momentum, and then if my opponent's at desperation, I also add the top card. So this could be possibly 2 triggers of Dejanet. Playing double Fallen Angels, super good on turn 1 builds, making sure that we can we pass every foundation that we need to. As since we're playing so many poor checks, we have to make sure that we're building properly and smartly. We're playing 1 last of his kind for defense. Lose 2 vitality. This attack gets -4 damage, minimum 1, and so it just basically says I'm going to lose 2 life to have that do. Basically, all your opponent's attacks do -2 damage, but they still did 2 damage. It's interesting. It's a good card, especially whenever you do get to desperation and all of your attacks get +2 damage. We're playing double Immortality. This is the only reason we want to draw Dejanets. We can flip it, and if we block with a character card, it'll deal no damage. Because we are a 7-hand size, we do have just a wee bit of vitality. It's not the best to be throw throws at us. It really hurts our gameplay. So we have to make sure that we have some sort of answer to throws. We're playing Triple Uniting Rebels. This is really good because it's just a 0/6. It's got really good stats, and keeping our vitality floating right at the key desperation of our vitality would be 10 is really good for this deck. We're playing 1 Egotistical. After I take damage, I get to draw an additional card. Playing a double Girl Like Any Other, commit for -3 speed on a spam. Or, excuse me, it is 3 Girl Like Any Other. There's 1 proxy. My apologies. Double Wisdom of Caster. This is kind of like a Girl, except for it gets -2 speed and -1 damage for each character in my staging area. That means that it could possibly get -10 speed, -5 damage, which all by itself is just enough to just nuke an attack. We're playing triple Face of a Monster so that we can change zones as well as pay vitality to make sure that we can block. I'd rather pay 1 vitality, pay 1 vitality, it'll lose 2 speed, and full block something than just take 6 or 7 damage to the face because I couldn't block anything. And the last card that we're playing is 3 Most Trusted Assassin. This is just a bit of disruption. I'll pay my 1 vitality. Your next check to play an attack card, whether as an attack itself or as a block, gets -1. It just kind of turns my opponent's turn off or makes blocking a little bit harder, just however you want to disrupt them. And so there you have it, Travis's Dejanet 1-dot deck. If you like this deck, make sure you check out all of the other matches that it played in, as well as the other deck profiles that exist here on the channel. Retro's going to be really fun, so make sure that you sign up for that event. I'll leave a link to the sign up page down in the description down below. And lastly, join us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/TCG University, every Tuesday when we record these campus championships. And I guess lastly, if you want to support the channel and like the content that we're making, please feel free to go out to patreon.com/TCG University, sub out there at least the $1 level, get access to our Discord, and we would love to have a conversation with you about your really awesome retro Dejanet deck ideas. So from all of us here at TCGU, thank you very much for watching, and stay learnt.